The first Spanish settlement in California was established in 1769 by a Franciscan friar named Junipero Serra. He named it San Diego. In total, 21 missions were built up the Pacific coast to the Sonoma Valley. And here, in the small city of Petaluma, is an institution that explores life as it was lived in the 19th century. The Petaluma Historical Library and Museum. Documenting everyday life on the frontier, the collection includes a horse-drawn fire wagon, a children's carousel, and the steering wheel from a ship that once navigated the Petaluma River. But among these local treasures is one item that strong-armed its way into the national spotlight.
It's made of a soft foam. There's a picture of two interlocked hands in the middle. And there's an official-looking seal on top of it.
This object recalls the obscure origins of an over-the-top contest.
This item once turned a struggling town into a sporting mecca.
It's 1954. In the years following World War II, the city of Petaluma has fallen on hard times. It was once the nation's largest producer of chicken eggs, but now many hatcheries have closed, leaving residents struggling to make ends meet.
The town was really close to bankruptcy.
One man looking for ways to lift his fellow citizens' spirits is a 32-year-old journalist named Bill Sobranes, a reporter for the Petaluma Argus-Courier.
He was trying to figure out a way to make everyone feel good about themselves and where they actually lived.
Thankfully, Sobranes is about to get the perfect scoop. One night, the journalist is having a drink at a local watering hole when he overhears a boisterous conversation. A brash out-of-towner named Jack Hommel is bragging about his prodigious athletic skill.
Hommel was this big, in-shape man, and he happened to be a trainer for the Detroit Tigers.
Hommel says he is undefeated in what he calls wrist wrestling, a sport most people know as arm wrestling.
He claimed that he beat all types of people, football players, steel workers. No one could beat him because he was the best wrist wrestler of all time, in his words.
Sobranes is struck by a moment of inspiration. He proposes that Hommel face off against the strongest man in Petaluma, a beefy 200-pound rancher named Oliver Kullberg.
Oliver Kullberg was a guy who's just built like an ox.
The out-of-towner agrees to the challenge. Sobranes makes arrangements to hold the match at the very same bar, and he decides to cover every last detail of the quirky competition in his own newspaper.
He thought this may be the thing that brings excitement to the town.
Word of the titanic clash spreads like wildfire. And on January 27, 1954, it seems as if all of Petaluma is gathered to see who will emerge victorious.
The day of the match, so many people showed up.
Jack Hommel and Oliver Kullberg grasp hands. And as a bell rings, they launch into their muscular matchup. For 3 excruciating minutes, the competitors give it their all.
These are two strong, aggressive, burly men pushing and pulling, trying to get the best of one another.
But the brawny battle suddenly takes an unexpected turn.
The table collapsed right under them, and the guys ended up falling on top of each other. No one knew what to do. No one knew what to expect.
So who will triumph in this battle of the biceps? It's 1955 in Petaluma, California. A Herculean battle of strength is unfolding in the form of an unusual competition, a competitive arm wrestling bout. But in the middle of the match, the table collapses. What happens next will take arm wrestling over the top. With the two men sprawled out on the floor, a hush falls over the crowd.
No one knew who would win. The referee quickly came in and dubbed them both the winners. It was a draw.
Amidst the excitement, Sobranis realizes the surprising conclusion has whetted everyone's appetite for more arm wrestling. And it gives him an idea. The next year, Sobranis organizes a tournament and opens it up to the top arm wrestlers from around the country.
He only charged $1 for entry, and he moved it to one of the biggest arenas in town.
The contest is an instant hit. It grows so popular and prestigious that Sobranis makes it an annual event. And the flood of visitors gives Petaluma a vital economic boost.
People from all over the world came to compete. He has struck gold with this thing.
Eventually, the craze gets so big that it's immortalized in the 1987 cult classic movie, Over the Top.
I think the sport was such a hit because it's something that everyone's played at least once in their lifetime.
Today, this official World's Wrist Wrestling Championship mat used during the competition is in the archives at the Petaluma Historical Library and Museum. It recalls how one man used his brains to turn other people's brawn into a sporting sensation.